No, no, no. Please, anything but that one. Anything but that one. No! Wait. Why am I complaining again? Oh, yeah. Right. No! Have you ever heard of Toothless?
Made in 1997, starring Kirstie Alley and airing on ABC.
Wait, so this is technically a Disney film?
The story follows the Tooth Fairy as she travels the world teaching children about the ins and outs of the dentist industry and the importance of daily brushing and flossing.
Okay, I lied. It's actually about dying and going to hell.
I'm sorry! Help! People, I'm dead! Please! Help me! I didn't mean it!
Yeah.
We start off with our protagonist as a little girl going in for a routine dentist visit. Oh, and her dad recently died. Oh, okay, I can see how this is a Disney movie. Turns out the girl wants to be a dentist like her dad and is obsessed with dentistry.
Oh, yes! Yes!
Not like that, though.
Like music, isn't it?
I never quite thought of it like that, Catherine.
Lady, your kid's a freak! Cut to her all grown up as Kirstie Alley and going about her daily routine as a dentist.
After Dr. Green died, I wound up taking over his practice. You could say I was quite the little success story. I had a good business, owned my own house, wasn't in a relationship, and I was okay with that.
Yeah, she don't need no man!
But seriously, keep this in mind, because it will be important later, and...
Teeth are very sensitive.
Neil deGrasse Tyson? Anyway, later Kirstie hangs out with her friend who gives her the rundown on how if she doesn't find a man soon, her cooch is gonna dry up like a saltine and everyone's gonna call her Death Valley. Or something like that. Without really seeing if Kirstie takes the pep talk to heart, she goes about her business when...
was that?
Seriously, I had to wait for the movie to explain to me what happened, because this shit is just silly. What, was making a semi-believable car accident too much for ABC? So now Kirstie's in limbo. It looks more like the Vasquez Rocks to me. And to the film's credit, she does put together what's going on pretty quickly. You know, instead of padding the runtime with her slowly coming to grips with what we as an audience already knows and understands as the truth.
Did I just compliment this movie? I don't know what to believe anymore.
Oh, okay. Don't worry, guys. The movie made up for it by making sure the camera work gives its audience a headache. Actually, I might be getting a little nauseous.
Oh, God.
So what is Kirstie in limbo for, I hear you asking? We've clearly seen how she's not a bad person, does her job well, and is generally liked by the people she keeps as company.
Well, you're not gonna like it.
You see, it appears that you have a glaring blemish on your record. Like what? You're a dentist.
Are you kidding? Dentistry was my profession.
Where by trade you chose to inflict pain and untold suffering on countless people. For that, you will await judgment on your life.
Yeah, she's done absolutely nothing wrong with her life except help people their oral hygiene. Don't worry, it'll get dumber later. You just wait.
So, because she's a dentist and she's in purgatory, she gets to be assigned with a job, and here's how we get our Tooth Fairy. Because jobs in limbo are ironically set up like punishments in hell, apparently.
Yeah, why do all Tooth Fairy movies have to have them be new recruits that fumble about their job to failed comedic effect?
I mean, I never saw the Tooth Fairy.
Because I learned my lesson the first time.
But I'm pretty sure that followed a newcomer that had to be trained as well. Why is this a thing? Why can't we have a Tooth Fairy just start off as the Tooth Fairy?
Or I guess more importantly, why can't there be a Tooth Fairy movie that doesn't suck?
And so true to Tooth Fairy movie fashion, I guess, Kirstie gets training by Mr. Morgan from 10 Things I Hate About You. Oh boy, I smell a comedic setup.
Don't. Come on.
Dum, 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 bum, bum. Come on. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, this goes on for a while.
So, the other fantastical chumps we see in Limbo are Cupid, being played by a divorce attorney,
I see what you did there, movie.
and the Easter Bunny, played by a construction worker. Yeah, okay, I guess they can't all be winners. You know there's gotta be a Santa here somewhere, which begs the question why a job responsible for giving presents to children all around the world would be assigned to a guy who's stuck between heaven and hell. Let's see, what else? Wait, Sleeping Beauty? Cinderella? Snow White?
Do I even have to explain why this makes no sense?
What would being one of these characters even involve?
It's not like there's a holiday where one of them comes over to your house and shits on your lawn. Yet.
So she's all trained up, ready for her assignment, and...
Since you may only go down at night, you'll spend your days in here, and you'll watch the children lose their teeth on this screen here.
It's always nighttime at some part of the world, therefore she would never be able to wait during the day. Do you see how hard my job can be sometimes? I mean, where do you draw the line in children's movie criticisms?
So after a flying around the world montage, Kirsty meets Bobby, one of her stops, who happens to wake up while she just kinda fucks around. Turns out kids who still have their baby teeth can still see the Tooth Fairy. There's no real reason why, except without that role we wouldn't have a plot to this movie.
I told you I'm the Tooth Fairy. Why do you think I'm wearing this?
I don't know. Let me guess. You're an idiot.
Talking to a mortal is a big no-no in purgatory, but Kirsty still chats him up and tries to explain who she is and what she's there for before peacing out. Bobby, of course, turns out to be a troubled kid, as we see his relationship with his dad isn't the greatest, because he works too much and doesn't spend any time with him. Meanwhile, back in Limbo... Oh, for fuck's sake!
Limbo in Limbo. You think you're pretty funny, huh, movie?
And don't you think you snuck that monk past me?
The fuck is a Buddhist monk doing in Limbo? This movie should be about him.
We also get this little scene between the former dentist and the Easter Bunny.
That's when they come to me. But I gotta tell you something, pal. It's too late, because the damage is already done. The only thing I could do is fill their holes.
Phrasing?
Bobby loses another tooth while getting harassed by a bully at school, the shortest, least intimidating bully known to man, and Kirstie Alley shows back up to his house to have another chat. But not after another flying montage, of course.
So you're really the Tooth Fairy?
Yeah. Guilty as charged.
You know, my dad thinks you're a figment of my imagination.
Oh, does he? Well, if I'm a figment of your imagination, then how do you explain this?
Oh god. Getting Mario Brother flashbacks.
See you later, alligator!
Should have never trusted the fungus.
Anyway, Bobby starts realizing he's in a Disney movie and asks the Tooth Fairy for lady advice.
Well, I was wondering if maybe I could walk you home from school.
Sure.
Great, let's go.
Bobby, it's only fourth period. Shouldn't we wait until school's out?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Smooth, man. Smooth.
Oh, and we also learned that Bobby also has a dead parent. Turns out his mom died like a year ago or something. Doesn't matter. Of course, adding to this whole going through a hard time and his dad doesn't spend enough time with him because he's also trying to deal with the heartache cliche.
That's 2 off-screen parent deaths now, in case you weren't keeping track, and I question this movie being made by Disney, though it certainly doesn't carry the same emotional weight as other movies. It's not even 10 minutes into the movie.
Kirsty tucks Bobby into bed and, I guess, falls for his dad while he comes in to check on him. Back in Limbo, Kirsty comes across her old predecessor ascending into heaven.
All right, now I'm the Tooth Fairy.
Oh.
Actually, I'm the Tooth Person.
Really? Wow, it's a tough break. I heard hardly anyone goes to heaven after being the Tooth Fairy.
Really?
Huh, that's weird. Why is that? Oh, no explanation, huh? He's just gonna... Okay, do your thing, man. Mr. Morgan has a friendly talk with Kirsty and explains why her whole character arc is a load of crap.
I know that I was a good person. I never lied, cheated, stole. I was never malicious.
That's all true. But you never allowed yourself to love anyone.
Now, what's dumber? Being in limbo for being a dentist, or being in limbo for not allowing yourself to love?
I love my dad.
Dads don't count.
Why doesn't that count? Didn't she still have a friend when she was alive? What, did she hang out with this lady all this time out of pity? Did she live her whole life without ever petting a dog?
It just seems like this movie showed me a character with little to no flaws and is now making me watch her be punished for it. It's weird.
Couldn't it have been anything else but this? Like she constantly broke her Hippocratic oath or something? Or better yet, couldn't you have actually shown me examples of her being a heartless bitch for this shit to make more sense? Anywho, it becomes well known throughout the school that Bobby thinks he hangs out with the Tooth Fairy on occasions, and this somehow gets him in trouble because the school bullies decide to beat the shit out of each other to get loose teeth out.
Look, kids, you're old enough to know that there is no such thing as a tooth fairy. It's a myth. And you, young man, you behaved irresponsibly. I'm gonna have to call your father.
In what way was he acting irresponsibly again?
Tooth Fairy gives us money. She does? Cool. Hey, I want one of those. Lose a tooth. But none of them are loose. Hey, Punch.
Oh, I get it. It's because he told a shaved chimpanzee that he needed to lose a tooth. Bobby's dad is understandably worried about his son acting troubled. And speaking of troubled acting...
But this Tooth Fairy thing, it is just silly. Okay? There's no such thing as the Tooth Fairy. She does not exist.
Guys, you want to know what that was? That was pure acting transcendence.
Bobby, I got a call from Mr. Norris today.
Kirsty watches as Bobby's dad has a moment with his dead wife. And continues watching as he starts taking off his clothes.
This got weird really fast.
One of the bullies loses a tooth, and Bobby invites them all over to his house to prove the Tooth Fairy is real.
What happened? The Tooth Fairy! There she is! Where? There!
Here.
There!
But turns out one of the kids no longer has any baby teeth and reestablishes the whole who can and can't see the Tooth Fairy rule.
The loss of innocence.
Oh, so you're saying Jeff lost his innocence?
Oh, cool.
Word spreads fast at the school of how the Tooth Fairy is real, and the kids start going all Cletus for an opportunity to meet her. This all, of course, is done in another montage, complete with J.J. Jackson.
This song is the one thing I remembered the most about this movie when looking back on it. And now I see why.
They use it all the goddamn time!
Bum 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 bum. Do 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 bum 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 bum.
Catherine, what are you doing?
Bum 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 bum. Woo! Boom boom.
The important thing to note here is Kirsty broke one of the rules of being the Tooth Fairy again, and wouldn't she know it, it's time for her to face her judgment.
Members of the board, this is
Joe,
and Joe. Members of the board.
we are, however, giving you one more week to clean up your act. But one more infraction, where you can guess what the outcome will be.
So Kirsty is given a second chance, but finds out that Bobby is being suspended from school for believing in the Tooth Fairy, and immediately blows her chance for heaven to go back to the real world and stop it from happening. Problem is, she's still the Tooth Fairy, so grown-ups still can't see her. What could possibly solve this dilemma?
Once again, this is technically a Disney movie, so obviously it's the power of love.
Don't need money, don't take fame.
Yeah, she allowed herself to love Bobby, finally fixing that big, gaping character flaw she so clearly had, and causing everyone else to see her for some reason.
I could argue the logistics of that, but the movie's almost over and I'm all out of fucks to give.
Kirsty, of course, gets found out and is forced back to Limbo to face the elevator to hell. Or Hellevator, if you will.
Nothing but a heartache.
And now we get a montage of everything we've already seen. Yeah, I remember that part. And when that happened, man, it seems just like yesterday, doesn't it?
Catherine? Catherine! Catherine! Catherine, are you alright?
Hey, miss, are you okay?
But surprised she was given a third chance instead. It was kind of a dick move to make her think she was going to hell there, guys. And like some kind of Ebenezer, Kirsty is now jolly as can be and nice to everyone.
Oh wait, that's not very different from how she was before, was it? It's almost like there's no point to this whole purgatory thing.
Oh, and her next customer turns out to be Bobby, who recognizes her.
Wait. Fucking time paradox.
Throughout Kirsty's undeath, we've seen her friend empty her house and mourn over her grave. This was interwoven between her visits with Bobby, almost like this was happening while she was being the Tooth Fairy. So how can both Bobby recognize her and her friend not think she's dead? But anyway, the movie makes one last-ditch effort to try and make me cry by having Bobby's last baby tooth removed, making him immediately forget who she is.
I'm talking about all the help you gave me when you and your... This really was your last baby tooth, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I can see how that's kind of sad and all, but she's undoubtedly gonna hook up with his dad and is therefore gonna spend more time with him.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, she's definitely gonna hook up with the dad, which I guess was the big character flaw she had to overcome all this time.
Remember, ladies, you're destined for hell unless you can find yourself a man. On a completely unrelated note, turns out I'm single. Hello?
And we top it off with an encore performance by J.J. Jackson.
That was Toothless, another one of my old childhood haunts I decided to rewatch, and I mean, Kirstie Alley was funny.
Really, there were a few bits here and there that actually made me laugh, which is frickin' surprising given the history of this series.
Oh, I can't feel. Ow!
Honey, are you okay?
Maybe it's that old Disney charm, complete with plot holes, a sappy moral, and dead parents. Can't forget the dead parents.
I actually didn't realize until staying up on this movie that it was meant for TV. We just happened to have a copy of it on a VHS tape, and that's how I used to watch it.
It was even part of the wonderful world of Disney, something I think we can all agree should make a comeback. If not just for our sakes, but for the sake of kids everywhere.
But I'll stick to the real Disney classics that I biasly enjoy through rose-tinted glasses. Thank you very much.
Papa, you're my very best friend. And you're mine too, Todd. And we'll always be friends forever, won't we? Yeah, forever.
They're just such little troopers.
When you're the best of friends, having so much fun together, you're not even aware you're such a funny pair. You're the best of friends. Life's a happy game. You could clown around forever. Neither one of you sees your natural bounty.